I told the coaches that we were going to switch to Jameis. I talked to Jameis and Fitz both in the locker room at halftime, and you know, a chance to get Jameis some real football. And we put Jameis in a terrible situation today, and I told him that. I told him that right off the bat at halftime, that we put him in a bad situation. And I mean, I knew Jameis would go in and give us everything he had, and he did.
Maybe he's betting on himself to be the first coach fired. Tampa Bay heads into a bye week before taking on the Falcons in a couple of weeks. Clay, how should bettors evaluate the Bucs moving forward now that Jameis Winston was named starting quarterback by Qatar this afternoon? Seems like they're going nuts.
I'm actually more troubled by the entire management of this situation than I am the decision to go to Jameis Winston. If you don't believe in Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's just go back in time a little bit. On Monday night, the Bucs took possession with 3 minutes left in that game, roughly, and they had a chance to drive down and score and take control of that game against the Steelers. That would have been 3 straight wins for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even without that, he still went over 400 yards for 3 straight games, something that has never been done by any quarterback in the history of the NFL. And despite all of that, you pull him after a half, you throw in Jameis Winston into an unwinnable situation, and he looks like crap. The thing that troubles me the most about the Bucs right now is not their quarterback situation, as messy as it is. Look at that, those numbers there. But truly, honestly, the fact that they gave up 6 touchdown passes to Mitch Trubisky, it seems to me like the quarterback situation is a fig leaf. Giving up 6 touchdown passes to Mitch Trubisky is, to me, indefensible by far much more than the quarterback decision making.
Yeah, I agree with Clay. I think Dirk Cutter created some unnecessary tension for himself and the team. He didn't have to put Winston back in there. He had 2 weeks to decide. They're on a bye this week. You know, Winston, Fitzpatrick, it's not going to matter. This team's not winning. That was a nice little 3 weeks that they gave us, but they're like French onion soup. It's great, and then it really gives you trouble at the end of the night. It's not going to last. I have stomach issues. I don't want to talk about this too much.
Such a bad image.
I know. But the problem is, look, they're not long for January. They're probably lucky if they let them play in December. I would not take Tampa Bay getting 3 or less on the road the rest of the way. And I don't think Vegas will give us that opportunity.
First things first, I realize how ridiculous I looked each of the last 2 weeks when the crown was on my head. But
listen, I was trying to help you out, my friend.
But having to look at Sal the entire time now, it's very tough to try and stomach. It just provides more inspiration for this weekend. But I think Dirk Cutter took a bad situation and made it worse because there was no hesitation. Why do you have to come out the day after the game and announce Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback? Take some time, think about it. We all know it was coming. I'm sure the locker room knew it was coming as well. But this had nothing to do with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He wasn't the one, as Clay alluded to, that gave up 6 touchdowns to Mitchell Trubisky. The players all week long came out and said, hey, we want to rally for Ryan Fitzpatrick. We love the way he's galvanized the locker room. Well, that effort, it looks like they left their A team back in Tampa because before you blinked, it was 21-3. Tampa's a team whose win total was set at 6.5 before the season. It took professional money under. I'm a lot more optimistic those under bettors are going to have a chance to cash when you look at them playing 3 of their next 4 games on the road, and I have 0 confidence in their defense, let alone Jameis Winston, to lead this team going forward.
Todd is taking this hard. You can see the color is drained from his face. I hope he can recover from that.
When you look at that under 6.5, what's wild about this to me is it almost seems like a financial decision, not a football seat decision, which would make me run away from betting on them because I feel like this decision is Dirk Cutter being told, hey, we have to get Jameis Winston on the field this year so we can see whether or not we want to sign him and commit $20 million a year to him. Because, again, Fitzpatrick was pretty damn good for 3 straight games. He plays 1 bad half, and you give up 6 touchdown passes to Mitch Trubisky, and you yank him. This seems like a decision, basically, to throw in the towel on this season and figure out whether Jameis Winston is worth $20 million. It seems more financially motivated than football-related, which is why I think it's such a bad and strange decision.
I still believe in Fitzmagic, guys. I don't think we've seen the end of him. Moving on, Baltimore got a big win over Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, 26-14. The Steelers fall to 1-2-1 on the season and currently sit in last place in the AFC North. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin doesn't like where his team is right now. Take a listen.
We got to own that. We don't like where we are, but we accept it. We understand that it's our doing. We just got to keep working. We will do that. We won't make excuses. Disappointing tonight, but the sun will come up tomorrow. We'll look at it, assess it, make necessary adjustments and things relative to our performance and who's available to us and get ready to roll again. That's our story.
I feel like there's a script that every coach uses after a loss, and that's what it sounds like every single time. Sal, can Pittsburgh still win the division despite having the 3rd best odds to win the AFC North? What do you think?
Well, let me tell you a little something about a guy who had the 3rd best odds to win.
Oh, gosh.
His name was Jesus. No, it's me.
Jesus.
It's me, actually. No, it has nothing to do with Jesus. Listen, Pittsburgh is in trouble. Look at these odds for the division. Why would you take anybody here? Plus 150,
What?
plus 225, plus 250. You're crazy to take the Browns at 8-1. Just watch the games if you're viewing AFC North football. It's great. They're tougher than everybody else. And the Steelers are in trouble. It was nice, the James Conner story. It lasted for a little bit, but they're 28th in the league in rushing. Something has to give with Le'Veon Bell. I think they're going to either ask for less this week or they're going to sign him, but this is the make or break. Rachel, you're not even looking at me. What are you looking at?
I'm
when the
looking
king
at my
speaks,
notes.
you look forward when the king speaks. Oh, I'm going to have to really change everything around here.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Let the other louds talk.
To me, this is why I didn't really buy into the Steelers' win over the Bucs, because they were +3 in the turnover margin. I just don't think the Steelers are very good. And right now, we're almost a quarter of the way through the season. We've got, obviously, going on tonight, the Broncos hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. But look at this list of teams that would be out of the playoffs right now with 25% of the season played. Look at the top two right there, Pittsburgh and New England. The last time that both those teams were out of the playoff, 2000, which is wild to think about in the NFL, which likes to sell itself on the idea that any given year, any team can make a run. Well, the Steelers and the Patriots have been two of the most reliable teams out there across the board. And guys, I don't even think the Steelers are going to be in the mix.
Wow.
In the mix for the playoffs based on how they're playing right now. By the time we get to late November, they're going to have to be a lot of decisions made. How many more years does Ben Roethlisberger have? What are they going to do about Mike Tomlin? What decision are they going to make about Le'Veon Bell? They have a lot to decide here with this franchise. I think things are going to change. They're going to change a ton this year for the Steelers.
I think what happened with Earl Thomas last night is just going to make Le'Veon's holdout go much longer. Todd, what do you think?
Yeah, Bell, I mean, if you see that, you're not running a comeback anytime
No
soon.
way.
But Mike Tomlin mentioned adjustments. What kind of adjustments are they making? They've been shut out against the Tampa Bay Bucks in the second half of Monday Night Football. They were shut out last night against the Baltimore Ravens. And last I checked, those Bucks gave up 6 touchdown passes to Mitchell Trubisky yesterday. So you look at this Steelers offense, and Sal mentioned it. They can't run the football. And while James Conner's a nice story, he's not nearly as dynamic a runner between the tackles. So teams don't have to commit their resources there. They're allowed to focus on Antonio Brown, trying to eliminate some of the big plays to him and Juju Smith-Schuster. And Big Ben has shown he can't throw the football into tight windows. But I also think this is as much about Baltimore as it is the Steelers' decline. This Baltimore team's for real. They have 3 talented wideouts, Joe Flacco spreading the ball around. They have a deep backfield. And when they have C.J. Mosley on the field, they're going to get Jimmy Smith back from suspension. This Ravens defense isn't quite like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed days, but they're damn good, especially by AFC standards.
You know, I may send my crown to Todd so he can cover up that funky haircut. What's right is right here. But no, listen.
You know, Sal, I tried to shave down my
going
ears
after
over
the
the weekend.
haircut.
I almost
Don't
cut
try.
myself.
Stop crying.
Todd, what were you saying this morning? Your mom texted you because Sal made fun of you on Friday?
I mean, my
wanted to tell
family's
you that
worried
your
about
hands
my
are beautiful.
self-esteem. You know, this is bullying that goes on for, you know, millions and millions of people to see. So, Sal, when I go home, I have to cry myself to sleep. I'm not sure if that's the kind of behavior that's going to be tolerated in your kingdom.
Listen, big ears are
That's it.
fine. They look great on you. Moving on. In his starting debut for the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield threw for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, but accounted for 4 turnovers in the Browns' 45-42 loss to Oakland. After the game, Baker put the blame solely on himself. Listen.
I'm the quarterback of this team. It's on me.